Hey, Tony. We can start
Hi, how's
whenever.
it
We
going?
can start whenever.
Okay, how's it going out there in Victoria?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a welcome change of pace
Awesome.
in many ways. You know, commute wise, just the whole vibe of yeah, how businesses operate. It's interesting though. In some ways, it's slower, but with regard to our real estate market here, it's actually faster paced. I'm noticing. So,
Well, let's
looking forward
talk
to
about that
comparing some
today.
notes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And everyone, this is going to be a monthly video, just checking in with the two markets. So I'm based in Vancouver, Metro Vancouver, and Warren is now based in Victoria. But you're coming back and forth actually to help the team. So
We're coming back. Yeah, we're coming back and forth to support all of our clients in Vancouver. I'll actually be back at the end of the month for about 10 days because we've got several new listings coming on. And yeah, happy to be working back in Vancouver too. But I mean,
awesome.
ideally, what we're doing is bridging the gap between Vancouver Island and the mainland, because we know that there's a lot of clients and people that happen to, move back and forth across the waterway.
Especially right now. And this is a perfect segue into what we're seeing in our marketplaces with statistics and also the trends for where people are moving to and perhaps a little bit of why they're relocating.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So do you want to talk about Victoria stats or should I start with the Vancouver ones first and then we can talk about the similarities and differences?
Sure. Well, let's talk about what's happening in a bit of a larger scale right now, because I see that it relates to there's a bigger movement happening right now, and
Yeah.
it's an exit from larger cities to smaller towns or smaller cities, right, on a macro level. And I'm seeing that a lot in people moving from the Lower Mainland to Vancouver Island, or even from the mainland to the Okanagan,
Mm-hmm.
right? But then we're also seeing a shift in each of those city centers within the city centers too. Vancouver, people moving from actual Vancouver to the suburbs,
Mm-hmm.
from condos to single family detached. And we're seeing the exact same thing in Victoria as well. People moving from the city center to a little bit further out in the suburbs to get single family detached. So you can see that, like, the from big cities to smaller cities, and then
Yeah.
within the cities you're seeing that as well.
It's very interesting for all of our clients right now too that are they're doing exactly that, making those different moves. And I guess it's because in times of crisis, like with COVID and everything, the need for shelter doesn't go away. The need for shelter and protection for yourself and your family, and also the
Mm-hmm.
evolving changes with work needs and everything. We're seeing some people that have young families that were used to living in a smaller condo. If they're now working from home, it's not really that convenient anymore for them to be in a smaller space. So they're either moving further out because of the
Mm-hmm.
value to single family detached, into something larger, or further out to the island because we've had some
Yeah.
clients relocate to the island recently.
Yeah. And I think,
Yeah.
honestly, I think people are just saying fuck it. They want to live in greater alignment, and they're finally listening to what their bodies need, what their families need, and they're making the moves. They're saying, hey, we're getting out of this rat race. We're going to go, live a higher quality of life somewhere else, or we're getting out of this little concrete jungle condo,
Yeah.
and we're gonna get that house, or whatever it is, the piece of land or the yard, even if it's going from a new condo to an older house, which,
Mm-hmm.
in the past 5, 6, 7 years, there was that trend sort of leveled out because people wanted nice and new. Now we're seeing people get more aligned with what their families actually need, and
Yeah.
they're making the changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're seeing the exact same thing here. It's very interesting that the markets are similar in that regard. I guess another thing that's important here, and I wonder if you're seeing it in Victoria, um, the sales for all property types in Metro Vancouver, so apartments, townhomes, and detached, the
Mhm.
sales to active ratio is all up. Okay, so I
Oh,
think the
majorly.
absorption, it's around, what is it, like 36%? Hold on, I don't actually
Or
know the
higher. Well,
number.
I saw
It's
Vancouver.
pretty high. It's pretty high.
I think it was like 50%. for one of the segments in Vancouver. But
sorry, it was 36% in December for Metro Vancouver, but that's an average of all of the marketplaces,
which is huge.
Massive.
You know, but even with that, Vancouver didn't post a significant increase in prices.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I mean, it is a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure on the market when you have that many sales to active listings available. Definitely an
so upward
inventory
pressure
shortage.
in pricing.
Yeah, and we're seeing that here too, a major shortage in inventory, especially for houses.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
The market's hot over here. If we can just jump into that, because I think a lot of our viewers are from Vancouver. I just want to tell you how hot the single family detached market is here. I believe it's hotter than Vancouver right now. For entry level homes, the bidding wars are ridiculous. We are competing against like 15 other buyers all the time for entry level. And this is houses that are sub $1 million for fixer uppers. So it's really competitive for young families right now. They're doing this strategy. I don't 100% agree with. I'm sorry if you're a Victoria realtor and you're using the strategy. I'd like to chat with you and figure out what the thought process is, and it's not to pick anybody apart. It's just they're shooting these things off the shelf so fast you can't even get your socks on before like to get out the door and go view it before it's sold. We're seeing them hit the market on like a Thursday or a Friday. They're
not
doing
enough time to get as many buyers
exactly
through.
They're doing showings Saturday, Sunday, offers on Monday, and exactly what you said. You can't get all the buyers through if you just let them know on a Friday. By the time you let them know on a Friday, they've already planned their weekend. People out here like to do recreational type things. Hey, they're going mountain biking or going hiking or doing whatever. And so I'm sure you're leaving half the buyers like off the table or whatever, or on the table, whatever you want to say, right? But when you let a property hit on a Monday or a Tuesday like we do, even if you don't start showing it till the Thursday or the weekend, you at least let it be advertised so people can arrange their weekly schedule and say, hey, you know what, we're not going camping this weekend. That property is going to be shown. We know about it on Monday. We're going to plan our week accordingly and we'll be there. So I don't know if I'm sure they're experienced with multiple offers out here, but coming from Vancouver, we've both experienced like several hot markets where we've figured out how to capitalize on creating bidding wars, right?
So it's a couple of things that I'm glad that you said that. It's a couple of things that I'm hearing from you. I just want to reiterate it in case the listeners are not aware. So on one hand, you're saying that like, because the market for detached is so strong out there, if the market was slower, maybe it would be okay to list it on the Thursday or Friday, and maybe you'd have enough buyers through. But because the detached market is so active right now, they're probably leaving around 50% of possible buyers out of it, in which case that could bid up the price even more.
Maybe, or I think the interpretation is it's so busy they can get away with it.
Yeah,
you can get away with leaving half the buyers out of it, but it's, I mean, 3 days isn't long.
Yeah.
Right.
And also, Warren, from our experience out here, if you had double the amount of buyers going through that were all valid purchasers, that can also bid up the price further.
It's a possibility. You give people longer time to do their due diligence. Somebody, maybe they see it during the week. Maybe they get their inspector in on the weekend, whatever. Check in with their mortgage broker. Then you increase your chances of getting cash offers.
Yeah.
So don't know what they're doing here. It's also frustrating. I'm working with buyers out here as well. And when you can't plan, something hits like yesterday and then you've got to jump on it today. That's also tough for buyers too. Obviously, if they're motivated, they're gonna be there. But like I said, like if people plan their weekend and they're not there, they're out.
Yeah.
That's one qualified buyer you're missing out on.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Anyway, it's hot.
I'm glad you said it.
Yeah. Yeah. But there's a few other things that they do differently out here that work for them, and I'll just have to get accustomed to. What else can we talk about? What are you noticing? Do you want to talk about Vancouver at all, or you want to focus on talking about things out here?
I was just curious to what's happening out there. We're seeing similar things out in Metro Vancouver, detached, and actually across all segments. So if you're priced properly, priced, when I say properly, I mean where it looks like the market can bear a sale. We're seeing homes sell within the first week still. That's true still of apartments, townhomes, and detached. Obviously, as we always say, it's a little bit dependent on some of the sub areas, like you'll see a little bit of variation, but for the most part, that's what we're seeing out here. So as Warren mentioned, we have some listings hitting Monday this week and also next week. And I think those are going to, I'm hoping that those are going to achieve a really great sales price for our sellers.
Mm-hmm. And if we can just jump to pricing for a minute, because I know a lot of our viewers want to know what are prices done in the last year. And I think it's safe to say, do you have your Vancouver numbers, or do you want me to just go with what I read?
I have Vancouver numbers, but go ahead. I can verify them. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, quick and simple. So I think Metro Vancouver overall, single family detached is up probably around 10%. Townhomes are up maybe half that amount. And then condos kind of like, mixed, like maybe no change or something like that.
Yeah, it depends on the condo.
Roughly, right? I mean, this is Metro Vancouver wide, but I want to bring that up because the exact same price trend has happened in Victoria over the past year. Single family detached up about 10%, townhomes up 7%, and condos, probably zero, some down, some a little bit up. So it's really cool. Vancouver, Victoria mirror each other very closely.
I mean, more and more of our clients too out here are talking about making the move to places like the Island, the Fraser Valley, because of that value, the value that's there and what they can get for them and their families. Yep. So I think that you are absolutely right. It's like they don't want to live in a concrete jungle anymore. There's not a lot of fresh air and space, possibly, if they're in a smaller place right in the city center.
Yeah. And by the way, I mean, if you're a viewer out there and you're thinking about, hey, you want to get out of the city and you want a bit more quality of life, or you want to be closer to the things that you value for your life, I've been talking about moving to Vancouver Island or leaving Vancouver for years, like decades or however long.
Wasn't it when you were like 20 something?
Yeah, or even since I was a kid. But, I had a lot of resistance and I've never moved to a new place before. So if you ever want to talk about leaving your hometown and coming to a new land with greater opportunity for you, reach out to me and I'd be happy to chat with you because I finally made the move. Couldn't be happier and I'm really excited about the future. But we can talk about that another day. I just wanted to mention that.
What do you have going on this weekend for real estate out there?
Kind of what I was saying about the single family detached market. Working with these great clients, we're going to look at a property today that just hit yesterday, and I know there's going to be competition on that. So we're looking at that. Going to go knock some doors and meet the neighbors for this young couple. I'm also canvassing some neighborhoods so that hopefully we can find something off market and they don't have to compete. It's one of the services that we're doing or we're offering for some of our clients out here, and sometimes in Vancouver as well, when necessary. Hopefully get outside, do some of the the Vancouver Island things. They kind of shut down. Businesses kind of shut down on Sunday out here, which is kind of cool. So
what about Saturday? Like does everything kind of close on the whole weekend?
Saturday is kind of like half open for people. Okay. All the real estate brokerages are closed Saturday, Sunday. People are still working, obviously. Yeah, and it used to be more so like that. They're changing kind of toward a Vancouver
model.
Which is like work all the time, 24/7. So I feel bad for the people here. I see the change, But
you're used to it though, coming from Vancouver.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Well, listen, I really appreciate this conversation today. And it's really interesting to hear what you're seeing out there. It's very interesting to me that the Victoria market models a lot of what we're seeing in Metro Vancouver. And I think we're both going to be really busy. I mean, I have a busy weekend as well.
No doubt.
Showing real estate, taking pictures at one of our new listings that are coming on Monday. So we'll just have to keep on checking in on this, because I'm curious if this trend that we're seeing in both marketplaces is going to continue.
Oh, 100%. I think
it
this
will.
is for 2021. I think it's going to be the same thing. Something I want to mention, and maybe this can be a different video, but I wanted to talk about at some point the trend for people leaving Vancouver, because there's two interesting data points. Victoria real estate market and the Okanagan real estate market. Actually, Okanagan, I think 42% of the sales in December were from out of town buyers from the mainland, which is huge, because that goes back to our Christmas giveaway. And I got to do the post on that, but a good portion, it was like a third of our respondents said that they wanted a vacation home or a cabin or a beach house as their goals for 2021. And the fact that the Okanagan had 42% of the buyers from the mainland is huge. Something for Victoria, 42% of out-of-town buyers in Victoria are from the mainland. They have a lot. I'm going to get the actual number of how, I think it's only about 10% of buyers are from the mainland, but that's actually quite significant. So we can save that for another video if you think. I think we've been going on.
I think that we should do a video on that, because for me, that speaks to, again, the fact that everything that had happened with COVID, you know, it changed the way people work. They work from home. It changed the way people spend their time with their family and at work. And it caused a lot of people to question where they want to be for greater alignment with their higher purpose. And it's interesting that, again, in times of crisis, shelter remains one of those important things. So are shelter and value, Metro Vancouver, you said that the entry-level price point in Victoria is $1 million for a fixer upper detached.
Yeah, like 850.
Okay, well, that's significant, because in Metro Vancouver, land value is more than that. Just the land. You can't live in it. I mean, there are some places where you could get something with really decent bones. It's a tight market, but at,
you're at least 1.2.
Yeah. Well, some areas in smoking deal, you could get it for $950, but very, very few and far between. It's very rare.
Yeah. Also consider that these parcel sizes out here, they're all like 6,000, 7,000 square feet. So which is big compared to Vancouver, North Burnaby, or right? Yeah. Shoot, I got so many things I want to say. Let's just keep wrapping here, because
I was gonna say, so should we keep going, and then can we cut this video, or should we stop and then do another topic?
You know what? We'll just keep going, because this is a conversation anyway. Because I think you want to know this too.
I do want to know it. I'm very interested to hear.
Yeah. So, just understanding the foreign buyers price trend. This will probably be a different video, but the peak in out of town buyers in Victoria was in 2016, or that was the peak in out of town buyers from Vancouver. And there's a direct correlation between the price difference between Vancouver and Victoria, and the number of out of town buyers from Vancouver buying in Victoria. So in 2016, we had the biggest price difference for single family detached in Vancouver. Vancouver was really high and Victoria was a little bit lower, and that price gap was the biggest, 2016. And that's also when Victoria saw the biggest influx of out of town buyers from Vancouver. So there's a direct correlation in that. So you can almost predict a little bit what's going to happen in Victoria based on the price difference, or at least how many out of town buyers. Another interesting
that makes
fact,
sense.
Yeah, another interesting fact is that, and this was by an economist in Victoria. I think he's a realtor. I'll like give him credit here somehow. I got to look up his name, but his statistics said that on average, an out-of-town buyer will pay up to 13% more, or the properties were selling 13% more to an out-of-town buyer versus a local buyer in Victoria. So that's something that people might want to know here.
Yeah, for sure they're going to want to know that. I just want to clarify though, when you say out of town buyer for Victoria, you mean buyers from the mainland or foreign buyers?
Yeah.
You mean buyers from the mainland?
Yep. I think they
Yeah.
specifically said from Vancouver.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting to. I just wanted to clarify in case people have the same question.
Yeah, that was kind of like when we had the inflow of offshore like Chinese buyers in Vancouver,
In
buying up,
Vancouver. Yeah.
buying like west side, like Point Grey, Kitsilano, whatever, all that stuff, Shaughnessy. And then those guys were coming up, they were buying up East Vancouver, North Burnaby, and those guys were all, right, they were outbidding everybody in the pockets further east. So that's kind of like the same thing.
It's actually all concentric
yeah, ring
land. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it another time.
Okay.
We'll just plant the seed for a next conversation. Yeah,
I think it's actually really interesting because everything's interconnected. And so this is important for people that are either wanting to secure a primary residence somewhere, or if they're looking for, again, like you had mentioned, an investment property. Investment properties, I kind of think, are really interesting right now as well, because most people are not able to travel anywhere, right? I mean, they're not covered by insurance. So I wonder if the drive for a secondary home or even a primary residence in like the Okanagan or on the island, it was purchased as a potential second home in the future if another COVID wave happened. Instead of just an investment property, you know what I mean? There's flexibility there.
To move there?
Yeah.
Sure.
If things got really bad, maybe.
Yeah. I'm sure there's people that have done that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I guess what else do we want to talk about today? I
think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. Good to see you. Thanks for holding down the fort over there.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, and I'll be joining you January 22nd because we've got all those listings to surface over there. It's gonna be a lot of opening weekends and negotiations that week.
Yeah, with the COVID protocols for sure. So it's it's interesting.
Yeah, you mean you're talking about showings by appointment?
And like as virtual as possible, which is what the council is still encouraging us to do.
Yeah.
Also, this is something, I don't know if you're seeing this in Victoria, sorry, I know we're wrapping it up, but in some of the buildings here for the listings that we've taken that are in a strata, the property management companies have been mandating that no outside people in addition to the people living in the building are allowed. So that makes it difficult. It was just a couple of the buildings out here.
So what do you mean, no buyers?
Well, they're saying if you don't live in it, then you're not allowed to be there. And it's kind of like, well, then how can you list it and show it? We'll see what happens with that.
That can't hold up because the BC is deemed real estate as an essential service and an essential activity. So you can't enforce that.
I think it's just they're thinking it's for the safety of people within some of those stratas.
I can see why they might say that, but they don't have the right to prevent somebody from selling their place. Yeah. I don't think the world's not ready for 100% virtual yet.
No, we're trying to do it as much as possible when possible, but
it's all right. Honestly, you can't beat in person because a lot of people are doing that Matterport virtual tour, which is great. I love it when realtors have that, and we have that too.
Me too.
But you walk into a listing and the vibe is totally different than what it looks like on Matterport, and you can see a lot more. You can smell it, you can hear it, so there's no replacement. There's no replacement for in-person showings. There's not, unless if you're the type of person that is gonna subscribe to a mail order bride service and order your wife that way, then you know what, you could probably buy a house online. No judgment at all, but for the majority of us people that need to deal with it in the flesh, we'll probably not buy a property online unless it's maybe an investment property.
No, you can do 3/4 of your due diligence online, and then you still have
Yeah.
to, our clients are still going to see it in person to make that decision.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Anyhow. Okay, well, thank you so much for filling us in on the Victoria marketplace. Happy to
My
see
pleasure.
that your transition's gone well, and we'll see you out here in a couple of weeks.
Awesome. Thanks,
Okay.
Toni.
Bye.
Bye.